What is up, summoners? Welcome to the channel today. I am super excited for the information that dropped late last night, and I almost quickly put out a video talking about it, but I really thought that I needed to take the evening and try to digest all the information because there was a lot. You know, when we don't have full abilities as far as percentages and everything, it can be somewhat confusing, but I think that there is enough information here that we can really walk through and break down the abilities, signature abilities, passives and all that, and get a fairly good understanding of what we think the character is going to be. And like I said, there's a lot of information here. Let me get out of this. Let me get my face off the screen so you can see it all. Let this thing play out. And while this is playing, I'm going to give a shout out to Trucos. The link to the original video that you're seeing here will be in the description. Make sure you go over there and leave a thumbs up. But yeah, big shout out to him for bringing this information. The signature ability for Doc Ock you see on the screen, I'm going to let that roll through, and then I'm going to come back to that at the very end, which there is a lot to Doc Ock. I'm going to try my very best to make this video and keep it under like 15 minutes. I probably will have to split up Doc Ock and Green Goblin into 2 videos, otherwise it's going to be like an hour long. But anyway, let's get right into it. So Doc Ock has got 3 separate, what the game is calling here, research categories. Essentially, he has 3 separate buffs that all build independently of one another. Think of this, these buffs that you're building along the lines of like Punisher 2099, how he's got a battery that you're charging, or even a character like Vulture with his Chitauri energy. You are doing things in the game to build up this energy that you can use. It's something very similar to that. So there's 3 separate categories, 3 separate buffs. You've got biology, chemistry, and lifesteal. All 3 of them you build in completely separate ways, and as you build them, what they call a scaling effect here, that buff, they all have different abilities. And then eventually, once you max out your scaling effect in that particular buff, it then becomes a breakthrough effect and applies a completely different buff or debuff. So let's just start in the biology here. So you build this buff, the biology buff, when you block an enemy or when you parry them. I don't know, what the actual scaling is going to look like. I don't know if it's a 0 to 10 kind of thing, and every time you parry you get 1, or if this is going to be along the lines of Punisher's battery where it's a 0 to 100. Whatever it is, as you block and as you parry, you're building your biology buff, and the higher it goes, the more block proficiency that you are getting. Eventually, once you've capped your scaling effect in biology, it then is converted over into a breakthrough effect. That breakthrough effect for biology is a heal block, and I always love to see heal blocks. That always brings a lot of utility to the champs. But yeah, that is the biology. Blocking, parrying, you're building it. A little bit of tankiness here with block proficiency, all leading up eventually to a heal block. The next one, let me move the video forward, is chemistry. Again, instead of building it up using block and parry, you're building it up by hitting the opponent and also being struck, which because it's based upon hitting the opponent, chemistry is probably the one that you will build up the quickest, because that really is what you probably do more than anything. But thankfully, its scaling effect is a fury, which is nice. It's always great to have a fury, especially if it's going to be up for a lot of the fight. But his breakthrough effect, for his standard breakthrough effect in chemistry, is probably the weakest of the 3. As you can see there, it applies an armor up buff to you for X amount of seconds. So, it's okay. I almost would rather just keep it in the scaling effect, but that's what it is. You're building fury by hitting and being hit, all leading up through to a breakthrough, which is an armor up buff. And then the 3rd category here is physics. So we've got biology, chemistry, and physics, which you gain your physics scaling effect based upon the amount of power that the enemy is gaining, which is, it's got a really cool effect. It lowers the enemy's special attack damage the higher its scaling effect gets, which I immediately went to Alliance War on the right side power gain node before you come back to the middle. That's almost always a Hyperion there, and probably like 75% of the time when I'm fighting him, if I can't get a special baited out fairly quickly, I'm almost always pushing him into his S3 because he gains so much power. But in this case, the enemy gaining so much power is actually going to be reducing drastically the special attack damage So in that case, you'd be able probably to eat an S3 from Hyperion with no problem, especially when you pair that with possibly having the armor up buff from the chemistry breakthrough. But the interesting thing about this is, even if you don't push them into a special, there will come a point where eventually your breakthrough, once it's scaled up enough, once the enemy has gained enough power, the breakthrough is actually going to automatically apply a power lock. So not only does he have a heal block with his biology buff breakthrough, but he also has a power lock with the physics breakthrough. I love this guy already. But yeah, we'll come back. The signature ability is going to affect and change all of that a little bit. I'll come back to that at the end, but really, really cool the way that that all plays together. His heavy attack actually is going to remove all of breakthrough effects, and for each breakthrough effect that is removed, it's going to do increased damage, which you might say, why the heck would I want to remove those? You know, not every fight are you going to need a heal block for. Not every fight do you really need an armor up buff. So if you get to your armor up buff, you know, you're almost probably better off using a heavy to remove it, take the extra damage, and then being able to go right back into building your fury buff. If we move forward now into his scientific method, here is just talking about how you're building your energy, how it leads up to the breakthrough, everything I was just talking about. Which the one big piece of information we don't have here is how long the breakthroughs are going to last for. Which if the breakthroughs only last for like 5 seconds, you know, 3 seconds, 5, whatever it might be, that's not going to be all that awesome. You know, having a heal block and power lock is great, but if it's only there for a couple seconds, you know, it kind of sucks. But if that is north of 5 seconds, it could actually be really good, especially once you start looking at his special abilities, being able to reapply them, which we'll look at in a second. But the one thing I did want to show you is on the bottom line there, when a breakthrough effect expires, all research categories are reset to X. So there's a fine balance between pushing yourself, because you'll be able to get your chemistry breakthrough fairly quickly, because that's the one where you're hitting the enemy. And if you push yourself too quickly into that, but you also want to power lock the enemy, you know, you basically are going to have to juggle, you know, should I get my chemistry breakthrough? If I get my chemistry breakthrough, is it going to give me enough time to get to my physics for the power lock? So there's kind of a fine balance between all of that. One of the ways it is going to help you balance all this is if you look at his special attack 1 here. When you use it, it resets the duration of any currently active breakthrough. So if you find yourself in the situation I was just talking about, and you've got your armor up breakthrough from chemistry, but you really, really want the power lock from physics, but you know your armor up buff is about to fall off, and if it falls off, you lose all the scaling effect from physics, and you have to start over. If you use the S1, it will reapply whatever your current breakthrough is, which will give you enough time then to build up your other categories, whether it be biology or physics, to get the heal block and the power lock. If you use your S1 and you don't have any breakthrough effects on the enemy, whichever category has the highest scaling effect, it's going to automatically pull that one through. Special attack 2 is going to trigger all of your breakthrough effects. So you're going to have the heal block, you're going to have the armor up, and you're also going to have the power lock, which is really, really cool. I would say that's probably the one you'll want to use more often than not. I would guess, this is all speculation, I don't think his S1 is going to hit very hard. I would say S2 is probably going to be the real damage dealer. But also you gain all the breakthrough effects, which is pretty cool. And then finally moving over into the S3. The S3 is hard to speculate on just because there's so many unknowns here as far as, you know, how long all of this is going to go for. But essentially you're duplicating current breakthroughs and applying them for a longer duration. Looks like it can be effective as far as duration up and down based upon the number of breakthroughs that you currently have. So again, not a lot to say about that one until we see some actual hard numbers. But what I want to do now is actually go back to his signature ability. Let me find it quickly. I think it was before. Yeah. So everything that we just covered, everything you just learned, you need to unlearn, because it's going to, his signature ability has a lot of effects on the character as far as his breakthroughs. But let's just read through it here quickly. Dr. Octopus' extensive academic background let him start the fight with each of his research categories at X, and each breakthrough is replaced by a new effect. So not only does it change the breakthroughs, but you also start the fight with a certain amount of scaling effect already in place. The best comparison I have for this is Vulture. When he is awakened, you start the fight with full energy. This is going to be similar to that. I don't know if it's going to be full scaling effect. I would assume not, because that would automatically push him into a breakthrough. So I don't know, maybe 25% or 50% of your scaling effect will already be applied. But what that means is you're going to start the fight closer to a breakthrough, but you're also going to start the fight with increased block proficiency, increased fury attack, and also a decrease to the enemy's special attack, just because of the passive effects that the scaling has already in place. So that his awakened ability, I think, is going, not that he is bad unawakened, but his awakened ability, I think, might push him up towards God tier. Can I say that? I don't know. That's a lot of speculation, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, getting down into the actual breakthrough effects, the way that they're changed. The physics is the power lock normally. When he is awakened, you drain 100% of the power gained, which initially I thought, well, that kind of sucks because you're losing your power lock. But essentially, it's the same thing. You're draining 100% of all the power that the enemy is gaining, and you are converting a portion of that into power for yourself. So it is a power lock plus a power steal, essentially, is what it becomes. So don't worry about losing something there. You're actually gaining power lock plus power steal. Biology, the normal biology breakthrough effect is a heal block. If you read it here, you gain the standard biology breakthrough, so you still get the heal block effect. Plus, you get an armor up, plus you get armor penetration while it's active. The biology is the one that you get from blocking and parrying, so you're still going to have the heal block. Plus, there's even more tankiness there. You're going to have an armor up plus armor penetration, which I think armor penetration, this is the second character that we've seen it from. Yondu was the first, and I know from experience, armor penetration actually does quite a bit of damage when you are attacking into a blocking opponent. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about that. And then finally, the biggest change here, the one that I'm most excited to really see some hard numbers on, is chemistry. Now, remember, chemistry is the effect that scales when you hit the opponent. So this is the one you're going to be building up the quickest. I'm just going to read it here. It's confusing when you read it. Deal direct damage equal to 100% of health gained, and lifesteal a percentage of the damage done, which that really is kind of backwards. Essentially what will happen is your chemistry breakthrough will allow you to lifesteal a percentage of the damage that you are dealing, which we don't, it just says X percentage. We don't know what that damage is. So I'm just going to speculate for purposes of explanation here. I'm just going to say, let's say it's 25% lifesteal of damage done. So while your chemistry breakthrough is up, if I hit the opponent for 1,000, 25% of that is going to come back to me as health. So that would be 250 regen. But also, if you read the first part there, you deal direct damage equal to 100% of health gained. So not only am I gaining back a portion of the damage I'm dealing as health, but that is mirrored, whatever that number is in health is also mirrored over as additional damage that you are dealing. So that is really, really cool. I'll be very interested to see what that percentage is. If that's a low percentage and it kind of is similar to what we see with Beast in his acrobatic form, how he gains a little bit of regen, or if it will be something more in line with Doctor Strange, you know, around 200 or so, or if it will be something in addition greater to that. I don't know. It'll be very, very interesting to see how this character plays out. I don't think, well, I shouldn't say that, because when it comes to God tier champs, I think Hulk is he's either in that category or he's like right there knocking on the door of God tier. So I think the science class really needed kind of a definitive God tier champ, and I think that he's gonna fall into that category. Again, this is all speculation. If the breakthrough effects don't last very long, or if his base damage is just terrible and he doesn't hit very hard, it may just move him back into a very high tier, not necessarily God tier. But if those breakthrough effects do last for quite a long time, and you're talking about being able to heal block and power lock for a huge portion of the fight, plus have regen for damage you're dealing, I don't know. He's looking really, really strong to me. I think I'm going to end it there. Would love to hear what you guys have to say about this new champ coming to the game, Doc Ock. I've been super hyped for him. I love the fact that it looks like he's going to be a strong character. Definitely will probably be going for him in the featured arena top 800. I'm telling you right now, that arena is going to be nuts. Yeah, I'm just going to have to like take 3 days off work and go hide in a closet somewhere. But yeah, it looks really, really strong. Let me know what you guys think. We'll be putting together a separate video on Green Goblin. Hopefully get to work on that later this afternoon. Gonna let this thing upload and go grab some lunch in the meantime. All right, guys, have a good Friday. I will see you in the next video. Take care.